made mistakes, tripped up, fell on my face multiple times, and help somebody else not do that and grow this sport.
Hey, are you ready to open the next cheer chapter? I'm Allison Sack with over 20 years in the cheerleading industry, and somehow I ended up as an author too. I'm here to give it to you straight. No fluff, useful tips, and all the perks from life on the mats and in the books. Whether you're doing the laundry, driving, or just trying to survive, you're in the right place. So grab your coffee or your jug of water and let's turn the next page.
Oh, I love this next topic for coaches. So next topic is going to be talking about how to build a successful practice session with time-saving tips, right? For cheerleading, obviously. So I actually love this topic. This is things that I have had to learn on the fly, just on the ball, because you're under pressure as a coach to produce results, right? So if you are a new coach, welcome to the cheerleading world. We love to have you. And like the reason that I'm even doing these videos in the first place and spending time doing this, which is more of a like passion project than it is anything else, because I currently do still have my full-time job of coaching as well as writing the books and doing this and showing up for you guys, is it's such a passion of mine that for the last couple of years, I've really wanted to give back to this community for the absolute blessing that it's been in my life for most of my life now, right? I've been in the cheerleading world for over 20 years, and I really feel like if I can help somebody out there, whether they're a parent, a coach, or an athlete, or somebody that wants to build a program themselves with things that I've learned, made mistakes, tripped up, fell on my face multiple times, and help somebody else not do that and grow this sport, I'm very glad that I am able to do that. So today we're talking about coaching. Now, the reason this is super, like I actually find this really fun. I took it on as a bit of a challenge. Now, I've learned a lot of these things a lot more recently than I have done in the past. Reason being, in the past, I ran a full gym program, which has now been taken over by one of my beautiful athletes turned coach turned gym owner, and she's still running the program. Another story for another day. But when I was running that program, at the time I was working with, obviously it's a full gym program, right? So you're talking about competitive teams, various levels, various ages. And a lot of the time, those teams I would see multiple times a week. Coaches would see them multiple times a week. So you don't feel so under pressure with time, I guess, as you would do with running an hour recreational team a week, or even an hour, maybe even 2-hour competitive team, or 90-minute a week, right? That's such a short amount of time to coach such a vast sport. You're talking about an hour, 60 minutes a week to coach a team where parents and athletes, these kids, that whoever they might not even be kids, it might be teenagers or adults, but they've got expectations of what they want, and you've got this tiny amount of time. You've got 60 minutes to get it done. So when I sold that program and relocated, this is a bit of a side story, but we relocated as a family and never intended on coaching or running another program because family life. And anyway, ended up going down that route. Story for another day. If you want to hear it, let me know. But I've ended up coaching now pretty much majority primary school. I do have some older ones, but majority of them are primary school. They're all low hours a week, and it initially started with just hour a week rec teams. I've now got 2 comp teams back in the comp world. I know, it just never leaves us. That's why I love cheer. It's just been my world. Anyway, so now I've got all these teams that I'm coaching, and I've only got them for an hour a week. And they have different goals, right? So if you watch my last video, I was talking about how to season plan for a successful season. So some of the teams that I coach, they're in primary school. So I go to the school and I coach there for an hour a week, and they do 2 terms. So I've only got them for 2 terms of the year. That's 20 lessons to teach cheerleading and get a result of a performance at the end of it. It is not much time at all. I've got a comp team that are junior level 1, next year. Currently youth at the moment, but we're changing over to junior one next year. They train for 2 hours a week. I've then got another comp team, same, but they train for 90 minutes a week. And it's just, they don't do anything else. Like, I don't have them for extra time, right? I don't have them come in for extra tumble classes. There are reasons for this, which is more of a business structure. So it's more of like a program owner episode, which I can go into and probably will another time. But for other reasons, I've only got them for a very short amount of time. So I've really had to step up my game on how am I going to get these kids or these athletes ready for these performances? How am I going to teach them these skills? Because cheerleading is huge, right? You're a coach, so you would know. We've got all these different things to teach. We've got them expecting to, one, do a performance and look like a cheerleader and be ready to get out there and be confident and perform a routine. They want to learn stunts, and they've obviously got ideas of learning basket tosses and who knows what else that they probably watched on YouTube. They also want to learn how to tumble. Most of them, my children, your area and where you're working and who you're working with might be very different, but the ones that I'm working with, 90% of the athletes that I coach have never done cheerleading, or even 95%. Like I was at the point where I had 140 athletes and only 2 of them had ever done cheer at one point in their life. Like, it's just crazy. So I'm teaching from scratch, so that might be you too. I do have some kids though that have come from gymnastics and acro backgrounds or are still doing it, which comes along with other things. And then on top of those, you've got to teach jumps, flexibility, the whole routine. Like it's a lot to teach in a small amount of time, as I've said. And parents will also not understand and grasp, well, how are you going to teach? Like they wouldn't consider, because they're sending their child to you. They've signed up for this class that they're doing, and it's not their responsibility, in all fairness, to know exactly how you're going to teach that, because it's your job to follow through on what you've offered, right? So as a coach, how are you going to do that? And if you are somebody that's like me, that's only teaching for a small amount of time, just holler. Even if you're just saying, hey, just drop it, because it's just nice to know that there's other people out there, right? So teaching those classes for a short amount of time, I'm going to give you my tips. Now, one of the first things that I really wanted and had to implement very quickly was a smart warm-up and a smart cool-down, because we do not have time when you're only seeing those kids for 60 minutes a week. You don't have time to do a 15-minute warm-up and a 15-minute long cool stretching time, because then you've only got 30 minutes left. And if you've only got 30 minutes left, well then what are you going to do? Teach stunts for 10 minutes, jumps for 10 minutes, tumbles for 10 minutes, and then you've got no time to work on choreography or anything else, or play a game or do any fun stuff or anything. Like you can't do that. So fun, quick warm-ups. So what I do is I do the same warm-up with every single team. And this has evolved over the last couple of years of how I try and get this done efficiently, because it just needs to be efficient, it needs to work, and it needs to be short. So we do down-ups to start with. You just put on the 8-count track, unless there's like tracks that they really love, which sometimes I'll let them pick a song. If they've done really well the week before or they've achieved a goal or something, I might let them pick a warm-up song, which is usually the younger ones, to be fair, that like to do that. The older ones are normally pretty good with just getting on with it. So we do down-ups first. So we do 3 rounds of down-ups. So you guys might call them something else, and you've probably seen them, where you get a team of people warming up and they'll hit a touchdown, clean, high V, clean, big T, clean, low V, clean, so on. And some people do them with bent legs, some people do them like star jumps. I'm not telling you how to coach those particular skills. You probably know how to do that. I'm just saying we do that. And then we do legs straight away. So we do knee, straight leg, arms to ears, straight leg, out, knee. 3 times. So that way that's got our blood going around and we're nice and warm. Then we go straight into body positions. So when I talk about body positions, I actually added this on later, because I really realized that after coaching for maybe the first year, that trying to get in the conditioning to hold particular body shapes was hard within that 60 minutes, because they're not doing a tumble class where they might be conditioning those 12 body tumble positions, which like I said, you don't have time, right? Because we've only got 60 minutes. So I was like, right, that's it. What skills are these kids learning? What's really important? So straight after we've done our down ups and we've done our legs, we go down to the floor and we hold tumble positions. So we do table, back support, side plank, front support, side plank, and we hold all of those. Straight after that, we jump up and we count our jumps. Now, this was also something I added on this year, because last year I realized that we also there's just not a lot to allocate where you can allocate to jumps. And even just getting a mini team's jumps in time with their arms when you've only got them for an hour a week, where it's just something where they're really coming just for fun, is hard, right? So we added this on to warm up. So now we do 2 rounds of jumps. Sometimes we might do them with the legs, sometimes not. Depends what jumps it is, what age they are, and what their ability is, and so on and so forth. But you don't want to create injuries just yet because you haven't done your dynamic stretching. So we mostly just do arms. So they'll do their counts, they clean, and their counts, and they call the counts, they all count it together, and they go 1, 2, they say down, hit, hold, stand. We do that through twice, and then we go into our dynamic stretches, which they all know. And from there, we've added in names for little things, like some kids, when we're doing our wrists, some of them like to make pasta meatballs. So we'll do like meatballs, spaghetti, sauce, pepper, cheese, like this, right? Some of them like to do ice cream, sauce, sprinkles, gummy bears, so on. So using those little words keeps the kids engaged, getting them to call out counts makes it really efficient because they know what's coming. It's something you do every single week at the beginning of class. And if they go to a different class, which I've also had as well, multiple athletes just crossing different programs, different schools, joining, maybe they've moved house and things like that. They've gone to a different team that I coach, and the warm-up's the same. So as soon as they go to that class, they don't feel lost or alone or feel like they don't know what they're doing, because it's the same. They know what to expect. They might not know the team. They might not know anybody on the team, but they know what warm-up is. So it's a really good start to the session. So that is probably my number one tip, is have an efficient warm-up and stretches, and just put stuff in there that you know you can do every single week that is just going to progress those kids, whether it's with their memory, whether it's with their unity, or whether it's with their conditioning. You're going to be moving them forward with minimal effort and time use. Now, in saying that, another smart thing that I did, which was with tumbles, I'm saying smart like I'm super smart, like, anyway, is bridges. So another thing that I'm struggling with is not having that tumble class, because you want to progress their tumbles. They might have come to you and not been able to do any, and you've taught them to do a forward roll and a handstand, but they're struggling with cartwheels, but then you don't have that extra class to work with them. Or I found progressing those skills would be okay, but then athletes would struggle with progressing walkovers, because there's just not a whole lesson that you can spend working those particular drills. So I got this bridge warm-up going, which you could implement into other skills as well. But they know if I say we're doing bridge warm-up, and I'm going to put on that 8 count track and get the mats out, the kids will know, whichever team it is, tiny, mini, youth, junior, whatever, that's what I say. They know exactly what it is, even if they go to a different class. They just get the mats out, they line them up, they line up in even lines, and I'll put that 8 count track on, they know what we're doing, and I call it out. So what they do is they do either a standing bridge or a push-up bridge from the ground, and then we do straight legs. So they make sure that they're holding that correct straight leg bridge position. We then go straight into 3 rocks into the shoulders, and then we go to one arm, and then they do one leg, then we do hopping, and then we do pony kicks, single leg hold, and then we do a kick over. And that's the same for every single team. So it doesn't matter which. And they know they might not be able to do those things. They might not yet be able to do one arm. They might not yet be able to do hopping, or they might not yet be able to do single leg hops, or they might not yet be able to kick over. But they know that if that's something that they're struggling with and they come down or they collapse, as long as they're okay, they just get back up and continue and join in where everybody else is. And that has really, really, really progressed the kids, because it doesn't take very long. It takes maybe 3-4 minutes, maybe 5 at most, to get rid of a whole team, don't get rid of your athletes or your team. To get through the whole team and do that warm up. So it doesn't take very long. So if you think about it, we've probably taken 10 minutes to do warm up, tumble conditioning shapes, jump unity timing, and a bridge warm up and dynamic stretching. All of that's probably taken 10 minutes, and that has got through a huge amount. Have we gone through and corrected every single person? Maybe not. Probably depends on how much help I have. If I'm in a class on my own, maybe not. If I've got helpers, maybe yes. But yeah, definitely efficient. And if you try it and you love it and you implement it, let me know, please. Let me know. All right. So that was the smart warm up and smart tumble drills and smart conditioning. Next thing is stations. So you probably know this already, right? Splitting them into stations, switching them around, set a timer on your watch or your phone and make sure that they are moving around. If I've got helpers in the class that are watching, I will move from station to station as well, so I can try and get to all of the kids somewhere at that point to help them with corrections. Next thing is doing memory games. So memory games for the younger ones. Sometimes I do use this with youth and junior as well, but majority I will use this quite a lot and make it more fun for tinies and minis. And that is trying to get them to remember where they're supposed to be in the routine for what section. Because you know what it's like, if you're teaching them all of this and you've taught them a new section, maybe you've done pyramid or dance, when they come back the following week, they won't remember where they're standing and they can barely remember what they've even done in that section until you've gone through it at least twice. So what we do is we play the memory game and you put on music. It's kind of like musical statues, I guess. So you put the music on, something that they love, something that's really popular, and they're dancing around, running, pause the music and call out the section. So with the younger ones, tinies and minis, I pretty much always do this in order of the routine so it doesn't confuse them too much. So opening, standing tumble, first delete, jumps, second delete, pyramid dance, right? So when you pause it and then you yell opening, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, count them down, and they have to be in their spot ready to go. And then we keep going like that, put the music back on, they'll run around, dance, call the next section out. It might feel like, you might think it's a bit of a waste of time, but it works so well. They really help condition their brains to remember where they're going. And it's also fun, so they see it as a game and a bit of a brain break too. So that's a really good one. The next one is smaller groups. Now, I tend to do this with the older ones, not so much the younger ones, but splitting them into groups. So let's just say you wanted to improve jump section. So you wanted to improve your jump section with that group and you wanted to do it quickly, but you wanted to make it fun. What you could do is you can split them into smaller groups. Say you've got split them into groups of 3s or 4s, whatever it might be for the number of kids that you've got, and say to them, right, set a timer. I'm going to give you 2 minutes and you guys are going to work together. I want you to get this perfectly in time with your smaller group. Then you're going to show everyone. The group that has the best timing gets to whatever it might be. So I might write a list on my whiteboard of the things that I want them to do that day. So it might be like a tumble run, a full out, hit their first elite, whatever it is I want them to do. I'll write that on the whiteboard because that's in our lesson plan, and I'll let them pick what we're doing next for the group that done it the best. That works really, really well because they get to work in smaller groups. They're communicating with their smaller groups, what makes them work on whatever it is you've asked them to, and they perform it. And then when you bring them all back together, you'll notice it's vastly different. So that's a really good one. Junior and youth, that worked really well with. The next one is group stunt runs. Now, I love doing group stunt runs. You probably maybe even do these already, but I actually find these are really fun, especially when you want them to work on performing and facials and how they present themselves on the floor. Now, I will also do this with giving the best group some sort of a prize, whether it's picking what game we play or, like I said, what we do next in the class. Maybe they could pick the next track. Maybe they could take the end stretches and they get to lead the end cool down. any of those kind of things that kids just love getting the choice and feeling like they've had an active decision, really works well as an incentive. So those are really good. So group stunt runs, so fun. And then also another thing when you've got performances coming up is really getting them to, which sometimes I will forget, and yeah, it's good. Like sometimes if you haven't got it written down, which I make shorthand class plans, which are like quick reference class plans that I can look at on a clipboard, and you need to put it on there, like start doing your run-ons, run-offs, and your sets as early as possible with the younger children. As soon as they've got their choreography and they've got the start and the end of and they're done, start getting them to practice their running on the floor, getting in position, doing their 5, 6, 7, 8, team name, set, whatever it is they do, finish, hold for a second, run off the floor. Like practicing that consistently will really help how they naturally will run onto the floor and feel confident. It really helps them perform the routine better as well. I don't know about you guys, you can let me know, but I've really found that when I do get those kids to run on and I've introduced them, it amps them up more, like they're about to do a performance, as opposed to just saying, okay, get in your starting positions and let's go, and press and play on the music. They tend to not have that, okay, we're performing, like getting ready to perform. It's just kind of like, okay, get in position, like going through the motions. So that really helps. And yeah, that is all of my tips that I've got for you, which are like time saver tips. I do have more coaching tips, but those are like time saving tips for when you are coaching kids for a small amount of time in classes. So please let me know if you found that helpful. If you are a new coach, I love that you are in this industry, and welcome. Let me know if you implement them and how they go, and if there's anything else you want to hear about, discuss, or dive deeper on. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next Cheer chapter. See ya!
Thanks for sticking with me until the end of this chapter. I hope you found something useful, or at the very least cracked a smile. If you want some more, dive into more episodes, grab one of my books or a freebie at thecheerleaderbookclub.com. Hit me up on socials at the Cheerleader Book Club, and if you have a wild topic you want to hear my take on, send it over. No, really, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate you, and on that note, I will look forward